One, two, three.
Welcome to Forgotten True Crime, where we uncover the forgotten stories of the past. In this episode, we delve into the tragic case of a small-town missing persons case that occurred in 1947. During a disaster, a 4-year-old girl goes missing. Join us as we dive into the investigation of Joan Gray Croft, examine the events of that fateful night, and search for answers to the many questions that still surround this case. This episode contains descriptions of violence and may be a trigger for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. I'm going to start off that this is going to be a short story. As you will see, it fractures off at one point and we just don't fully know what happened. But this is a bit of a local legend, and it's something I wanted to tell on the podcast. So consider this a bit of a bonus episode. I have put this story together using local records. There is information online about this case, but just taking one look at all of that told me there is a lot of misinformation on it as well. So I am sticking to what records I can find from when this happened and not retold 60 years later online. It's April 9th, 1947. The town of Woodward, Oklahoma, does not realize that in just a few hours, their town will be destroyed. The Woodward Daily Press morning paper details storms happening through neighboring states. One article even shows how a tornado destroyed part of a house, but leaving the room's contents still in the place where they stood, the walls and ceiling were all gone. Also in the news was a nationwide phone operator strike. They were coming to an agreement to end the strike. Being a long-distance phone operator was a complex and thankless job back then. 300,000 telephone operators had gone on strike to improve their working conditions. The news that an agreement was coming was big news to the town of Woodward. Because of this strike, they had been without an operator for a couple of days, and making phone calls was next to impossible. Cleta Mae Goebel was one of those telephone operators who was currently on strike. She was married to Olin Croft, and together they had a daughter, Joan Gray Croft, who was currently 4 years old. Cleta also had another daughter, Geraldine Joyce Rawls, who she had when she was married to another man, Edwin Rawls. Reports about April 9th, 1947, tell a unique story. Throughout the day, the winds blew, and sometimes they blew very hard. Cleta took the girls and had them take a bath before they went to bed. While the kids were in bed, the wind had completely died down. Several accounts from around town indicate that the winds died down right around 8:30 p.m. By 8:42 p.m., the winds in Woodward returned, and they returned in force. There was no notice, there was no warning, but at this time the town of Woodward was being hit by a 2-mile-wide F5 tornado. Olin and Cleta scooped up the kids as the house began to bend and break. Fearing they would be killed by the falling house, they ran outside. Olin only made it a few steps before he was struck in the head with a piece of timber. It knocked him out instantly. The only real safe place in this situation was underground, but the Croft family did not have this option. Cleta tried to hang on to her babies, but when she too was struck down by debris, she had no choice but to let them go. The tornado was gone within minutes, but it left most of the town of Woodward in total destruction. The Crofts' neighbors, who had fared better than most, immediately went out to assist their neighbors. They found Joan and Joyce outside almost right away. Joan needed medical attention. Her left leg had been impaled by a splintered piece of wood the size of a broom handle. The neighbors took the girls to the local hospital, which was also without power. Because the hospital was swarmed with people and the girls were in stable condition, they were taken to the hospital basement awaiting transport to another hospital. This is where things get interesting, and I want to preface this with, from this moment, the girls are in the basement. We do not fully know what happened with 4-year-old Joan Croft. Joan was removed from the basement. Joyce and one nurse remembered that a group of men took Joan from the basement. They told the nurse they were going to drive Joan to the Oklahoma City hospital because she needed more immediate help. Another nurse stated that she believed Joan had died. The wound was more significant than first thought, and she did not survive. Olin Croft was found alive under rubble that landed on him during the storm. He was rushed to a hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There was no local record of this, so it was first thought he was among the dead. Cleta was found hours later just 40 feet from where Olin was found. She was dead. It was believed that she had just died. If she had been found sooner, they might have been able to save her. Cleta's great-aunt Ruth Bone stated that she had seen both of the girls together in the hospital basement. She told them to stay together, and then she spent the night and morning helping where she could in the hospital. When she returned, Joan was gone, and Joyce told her about the two men taking her. Weeks passed, and every hospital in the region was contacted or combed through. Joan Croft, too young to even say her own name, seemed to vanish into the chaos of that fateful night. Fear gnawed at the searchers. Had she been lost in the frantic shuffle, overlooked amid the pandemonium? One by one, hospitals responded, but none had treated a girl matching Joan's age or description. Her name was nowhere in their records, her face absent from every ward. Oklahoma Highway Patrol kept her case active, a shadow that followed them into every shift. Even as the months turned into a year, they reminded their units, stay vigilant, keep looking. Joan's disappearance became a silent haunting, her name whispered in briefings, a constant on their minds. On the first anniversary of the disaster, new details surfaced. Bess Irwin, a nurse who had once seen two men leading a little girl out of the hospital, gave a more detailed account. It was chaos, she recalled. We were working by candlelight and everyone was frantic. Two men stopped me in the hall and said they were taking her to get help. I didn't think twice. I didn't stop them. My question is, do we even know if it was Joan that they were taking? 3 people remained unidentified after the tornado and were buried as such. One was believed to be a 6-year-old girl who looked similar to Joan. This was dismissed because it was believed that this young girl was never claimed because her family could not pay for a funeral, so by not claiming her, the state paid instead. But as the years turned into decades, it made many people wonder if that was true or not. It's widely believed that one of 3 things happened to Joan. The first, Joan was removed from the hospital by 2 men. She was kidnapped, and we do not know what happened to her from here. The second is that she was taken to get help, and then when her parents could not be found, she was raised in some kind of foster care or with a different family. 3, and this is what I believe, she died of her wound and was then buried under the wrong name. I think that the 6-year-old girl who was never claimed to be Joan, it was dismissed because they thought the girl was larger than Joan. But mistakes happen, and sometimes the most straightforward answers are the truth. But let me know what you think. I am going to post this case over at truecrime.blog, where we will post all of the interesting information about this case that happened over the years. Honestly, there is a lot more going on than what we have covered today that goes over the years and years of questions about this case. A reporter who believes they were contacted by Joan in the 90s, and much more. I know this is a short episode, but I am working on a much larger one currently, and I wanted to put this out because it's a case that's been on my mind and one from my home state that I just find so interesting. Until next time, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you all next time.